Today in Bible videos, we're going to learn about the story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. Are you ready to know more about them? Let's get started. When the people of Israel started to worship idols, the prophet Elijah delivered a message from God to King Ahab. And he said, "There will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years until I say so." And for the next 3 years, no rain fell. Harvest failed and there was famine everywhere. Elijah had hidden in the Kiriath ravine and been fed by ravens. And when the brook dried up, God then told him to travel north out of the country, where he was fed by a widow living at Zarephath. And on the 3rd year, with no rain, the Lord told Elijah to go and present himself to King Ahab. So Elijah left Zarephath and traveled south into the land of Israel, where King Ahab had been searching for him. The people in Samaria, where King Ahab lived, were desperate for food and water. They had prayed to Baal, thinking that this false god controlled the weather and harvest. King Ahab called his palace administrator Obadiah, and he said, "Go to all the springs and valleys in the land. Maybe we can find some grass to keep the horses and mules alive." Obadiah was the one who trusted in the Lord. When Queen Jezebel had ordered the Lord's prophets to be killed, he had hidden 100 of them in 2 caves, 50 in each, and had secretly supplied them with food and water. And King Ahab and Obadiah went in opposite directions, searching for water supplies. As Obadiah was walking along, he suddenly met Elijah. Obadiah bowed to the ground and asked him, saying, "Is it really you, Elijah?" And Elijah replied, saying, "Yes, and go tell King Ahab that I am here." So Obadiah made Elijah promise to stay where he was while he fetched the king. And Obadiah rushed to find King Ahab and told him he had found Elijah. When the king saw Elijah, he accused him of being a troublemaker. Elijah replied, saying, "I have not made trouble, but you and your family, by abandoning the Lord's commands and worshipping Baal." And Elijah demanded the king, saying, "Gather the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Ashereth." So King Ahab sent messengers throughout all the land, telling everyone to assemble on Mount Carmel. The 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of the false god Ashereth were summoned also. And Elijah addressed the large crowd on Mount Carmel. He said, "How long will you waver between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." And the people remained silent. So Elijah continued talking. He said, "I am the only one of the Lord's prophets left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Now get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one, cut it into pieces, and put it on an altar of wood. But they must not set fire to it. And I will prepare the other bull and put it on the altar with wood, but I will not set fire to it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord God Almighty. The God who answers by fire, he is the real God." And so the people agreed to the contest. The prophets of Baal chose their bull, cut it into pieces, and placed it on the wood on their altar. From morning until noon, they danced around the altar, shouting, "Baal, answer us!" But there was no answer. At noon, Elijah began to taunt them. He said, Shout louder! Is he truly a god? Perhaps he's in deep thought, or busy, or traveling, or maybe he's sleeping and you need to wake him up. So they shouted louder and louder and slashed themselves with swords and spears until their blood flowed. Midday passed and Baal did not send fire. They became more frantic and continued pleading to Baal until evening, but there was no response, and no one answered, and no one paid attention. So Elijah then gathered the people around him and rebuilt an altar of God that had fallen into ruins. He placed the 12 stones and dug a trench around it. Then he sacrificed the bull and placed the meat on the wood. Elijah then gave a strange order. He said, "Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and on the wood." When they had done that, Elijah ordered them to do it again and then a third time. Altogether, 12 large jars were poured over the altar and the water ran round to fill the trench. And at the time of the evening sacrifice, Elijah prayed to God, saying, "Lord, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant doing what you have commanded. Answer me, so these people will know that you are God and will turn back to you again." Suddenly, the fire of God fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil. It also licked up the water in the trench. The people fell face down to the ground and cried, saying, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" So Elijah gave orders for the false prophets of Baal to be seized and taken down to the Kishon Valley, where they were put to death, so they could no longer mislead people into evil ways forbidden by God. The end. And I hope you had fun learning the story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more Bible videos. Bye.